world, where things may be heading according to astrology. Maybe we'll dip into that a little bit. But of course, I want to know about her background, how she got into this. Esther, can you come on my channel? Can you do this interview? And I'm glad you said yes. Thank you so much. How are you?
I'm excellent. I'm really exciting, very exciting to be a part of, your journey. We know each other for a couple of years now, and it's always a pleasure. I remember the initial interaction with you. It was left a really amazing, spark inside of my soul. And this is why I'm so happy what you're doing. I'm so proud. And I think what you do, it's unbelievable. It's tremendous work. And, I'm happy many souls can connect to your work and to connect to their own wisdom, within them.
Oh,
so thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I've learned, every time I talk to you, and I told you this before too, it's like something opens up for me. I'm standing on the middle of a ladder and I'm going up, and then the way you explain things, the way you talk about things, it really just, it's amazing. And so I really wanted to learn with you, and that's what we're going to start doing now. And you come up from a really Kabbalistic background. So how'd you get into that? How'd that start out for you?
I think we all have our ancestor lineage, which is always give us support. It's just a matter how we can connect to it, right? Because our souls, we've been through so many different journeys, and our soul knows so much. And we all have kind of vivid moment in our life, then it's really changes forever. And I will tell, I was 11 years old when it happened. And I had a dream. And interesting enough, in this dream, I saw some old man came to me in my dream with black outfit, and with the bear, and spoke a very foreign language, but I kind of recognized because it was almost like a German, but my grandparents used to speak Yiddish. So the only thing, I heard from, I understood the word Israel. And I remember I was 11 years old, and I went to my grandfather. And my grandfather, he was really like a head of our family. And I told him when I was 11 years old, then grandfather, I'm actually wanting to go to Israel. So as soon I will be able, I can get my papers together, and I will be like at age 17. And I will go. He laughed at me, of course. He said, okay, no problem. But I always been very independent. As an older sister, I have two brothers. I kind of always used to tell somebody what to do. And I knew that moment, and I was 11 years old, and I already had huge desire to leave my place and to go to my journey. And this is really where it started. And as well, when I was very little, I always used to be always very observant. I used to pay attention to people. I always love people, and I always love to look, how they speak, what they like, sometimes what make them happy, what make them sad. Yeah, I remember even when I was 7 years old, I used to observe people, and it was always very fascinating, how they react to things. So I feel it's not really mine in a sense. I think it's not something I really earned this lifetime. I do believe I have a gift which was given to me with, every time we all have gifts, but there's a huge level of responsibility comes with the gift. And this is another thing I think we should discuss today as well. And so to make the story a little bit quicker, when I became 17, I born in Estonia, but we moved to Ukraine a couple of years before I moved to Israel. And at the time was only place we have in Russia, in Moscow, the place we can go in consulate in Israel. So I moved. I was one of the first people in the city by myself. From all my family, I moved to Israel. Even my grandparents, they ran the bus in order for all my family to go to Kyiv, the main city, in order to say goodbye. I have like 35 people came to say goodbye to me. I was 70 years old. You think my son right now 20. I'm thinking when he was 17, you baby. I was so on a path. I knew this is what I need. So anyway, and the week I moved to Israel, it's after many years when I already started to study Kabbalah, it was the week called in Bible, Lech Lecha, go out of your home. If you remember Abraham, when God spoke to Abraham, he told him, in order for you to elevate yourself, you have to get out from the town you're in and from your family. And it's interesting enough, the Thursday I arrived to Israel was this portion of Torah, Old Testimony. which is, I remember I had goosebumps. Anyway, so I had always a lot of support, and I always knew I have a lot of support from above, and I had a lot of appreciation. And of course, since I'm very young, I always draw myself to spirituality. I never saw myself to be part of some religious structure. Even when I try to be part of some kind of religious structure, my soul rejected right away. I knew there's much bigger picture behind that. But I always love to learn. I was always learner, and I am learner. And even when I start my study with Kabbalah, there's a lot of studies behind. You really, in order for you to understand even small things, you need to go through certain learning as well in order to understand the bigger picture. So of course I study, and I was very lucky. One of my biggest luck is the people who I meet. I meet absolutely unbelievable people who I learn a lot from, and I learn from you. I learn from everyone. Even each reading I have, every time I do reading, I say to myself, unbelievable. Like, I learn from this person. I even learn from people how they react to things, how much they open to understand themselves. For me, it's so precious. I I feel we need to really nourish ourselves. We really need to understand who we are. So when I study Kabbalah, then I start to study Western astrology. And after Western astrology, I study a little bit Vedic astrology. And then when I came to Babylonian astrology, I realized after everything what I study, this is really speak truth to me for a variety of reasons. Number one, because it's not deal just with seasons like Western astrology. It actually deals with actual constellation science, and it's called fixed science. And this is why for me it was really fascinating. Plus, because initial school of Babylonian astrology came from school of Shemurim. Shemurim is the tribe which is still live in Israel, by the way. And they initially came from the city called Mesopotamia. And where's the Abraham, our father? He came from the Mesopotamia. This is the city where he born.
Yeah.
And one of the fascinating things as well, and then I combine Kabbalistic knowledge with book of formation. In Hebrew, it's called Sefer Yezirah. Sefer Yezirah, exact translation as well, is book of creation. It's all the secrets of the stars, of energetical force, how they communicate with each other, and how they create by Hebrew alphabet, because Hebrew letters, they have tremendous energy. It's not just its vibration. It's like a DNA of our soul. It has nothing to do with it's nothing to do to be Jewish at all. It's everything being super corrupted. The Aramaic, it was the initial language was spoken. The Jesus spoke Aramaic, but the prayers always done in Hebrew, because Aramaic used to be language of simple. In Hebrew, it's the language of noble. And Aramaic been in way forgotten, but we do have few holy books, like a book of Zohar. It's called Book of Splendor. It's one of the only books is written in Aramaic. And it says in the Talmud, and it says in a lot of in our old books, then it's one of the most important book for soul to connect. Why? Because Aramaic is the language not known to angels. It's the only language wasn't given to angels. And Creator purposely wanted to have one language, then only human can have connection. So it says, even you don't know how to read Hebrew, which is I do recommend eventually for people who really want to grow and understand Kabbalistic knowledge more and understand more in depth. It's really, really important language to adopt, and at least to know how to read, not just to scan, because it says then when you scan Aramaic with your eyes, you have directly connection with the light of Creator without any agents. Because, for example,
it's something happened, yeah, when you were speaking Hebraic, and I don't know if it's because I have a connection to that, but I felt it. I definitely felt it when you were speaking Aramaic. And when you sent me the Zohar as well, you sent me a link to the Zohar, and I was scanning certain sections, and you could feel something shifting. There's something energetic that is there, and you can't deny it. Absolutely.
Amazing.
Absolutely.
It actually says in the Zohar, the person who starts to connect to the Zohar and even carry this small packet, it's called packets of Zohar. I think the Kabbalah Center, they do sell. I study with Kabbalah Center. I don't directly affiliate with them, but I can always put some links if people ever want to purchase. And there's a couple of really amazing courses they do provide. But again, it's something done with the Zohar. So I just want to finish my thought. So every time when person have even Zohar in his present, it says he protected in a way he almost cannot be killed by other human. By another hand, why? Because Zohar has tremendous light. It's called Or Makif, surround light. So the surround light, and what's happened, the Sefer Yezirah, Book of Formation, was initially written as well in Aramaic. Now Abraham and Sarah, they left their home, right? So I'm not going to go too much about the story, but I really want to put the point, really center point, why I keep bring Abraham, our father, because he's really father of all. Because he was a monotheist. There was no other religious. There was only one God. And he came from, we need to remember, he came from very negative background. His father was a black saucer. He used to use heads of idols of different birds and heads of different animals. And he made them speak just the heads. And Abraham grew up in such a negative environment. Since he was very little, he used to, one day he went to break all of them. And this is why they want to put him inside of the fire. Now, when Abraham left with Sarah, and they went to the journey, when God spoke to him first time and told him, leave your home, leave your offspring, and just go to your journey. This is how he started his journey to go to Israel. And while he was travel, he was one of the first astrologer. He's the one who received the book of creation. And he used to every night go to the sky, look at the sky, and start to calculate sky to the stars and look what's going to happen next day. Here, he was shepherd, and he was very rich, wealthy man at the same time, and he always knew how many his animals, how many other animals going to give birth, what's going to happen, and he knew that Sarah not supposed to have a child because she born without a certain place in the tomb, which is she cannot bear a child. And then one night, God spoke to Abraham and told him, stop, count the stars, start to move your stars. There's a big secret behind, big. Because why we even given the stories? What is really Bible? It's all code. There's nothing directly. One of the reasons people abuse the knowledge of Bible and control other people, because they're constantly trying to directly interpret the Bible. This is why Kabbalists, they had such a hard time with religious community for centuries, for generations. They've been rejected. They've been thrown from the cities because they, like a Jesus, was Kabbalist. We're going to speak in one of our sessions. He's one of the Kabbalists who start to teach people you have a creator within you. You can change. So the creator spoke to Abraham and told him, stop, count your stars, start to change them, start to overcome, and start to be like a creator, really in charge of your stars. And this is when Sarah have Isaac. And one of the reasons she was able to bear a child, because they brought a lot of chesed. Chesed in Hebrew, it's mercy. They brought a lot of mercy to this world. They convert a lot of people to spirituality. No matter where they used to go, they convert people to spirituality. No matter what and the home was always open for people. Was always open, no matter what's happened, day, night, always open. What is the lesson for us? It's important to care for yourself. It's important to love yourself. But it's equally important to care for another person. It's equally important to feel the pain of other person. And again, we can speak about different sign, how they experience the pain. Because, for example, Pisces, it says the most sensitive sign. But one of the issues of Pisces, many times they feel their own pain before they feel the pain of other. So but because it's the last constellation of the 12 signs, and it says, 5 Pisces change the world. And Jesus, according to Kabbalah, he is a triple Pisces. So, and this is why when you're really growing, for example, as a constellation of Pisces, but again, it's much bigger conversation, you really exists in different realm. You can really create miracles around you, because as soon you're sharing, as soon you wake up in the morning, your morning starts with appreciation. You look at the window, you look at the sky, and you understand that everything made just for you, just for you. At the same time, you understand everyone who around you, it's one soul. This is not even, it's not even doubt in my mind. It's not even doubt in the, we are so connected, everything. First of all, we're connected as a human kingdom. Then under us, we have a kingdom. We have animal kingdom, which is extremely important kingdom for us. They do tremendous work for us, by the way, in order for us to even be here in this realm.
Right.
Then we have vegetable kingdom. Then we have a mineral kingdom. All of the kingdoms very much connected, but very important for us to understand that each of us, we really one soul. And every time when we think we're pulling blanket to cover ourselves, we're actually uncovering ourselves. This is completely opposite, right? So this is why astrology, it's a tremendous tool to introduce. When I do my reading, my number one tool after I finish reading, the person will feel he actually healer. He become healer his own. He can heal himself.
Yes.
Understand?
That's I literally I felt that after our reading. I felt uplifted, rejuvenated, inspired again. I felt so much clarity on so many questions that I had, but deep questions, deep soul questions. It wasn't you don't go into the shallow, even though every type of reading is necessary at some point or stage in your life, but your kind of readings are really deep. Like, what is the message? Why am I here? Those are the questions that I feel you could ask you in a reading. You're able to bring that up and out. There was so much information in everything that you just said that I think people just to listen again and create some questions and find the questions, and they can contact you on the page that I'm linking below. But you pretty much went into what Kabbalah is, and like anybody can practice Kabbalah, because it's not tied to a certain religion, even though it seems that way on the outside, because it is Jewish mysticism. So people always think, oh, when they hear Kabbalah, oh, that's Judaism, and I'm going to be working with Judaic things. But you're saying that no, it's for everybody. You can continue being Christian or Buddhist or whatever it is you are, but implement also these Kabbalistic concepts to help further your soul. What is the goal of Kabbalah? What is is it soul purification? Is it reunification with God? What is the ultimate goal?
Beautiful question. It says in a question there's an answer always. So, and therefore, what is the Kabbalah? Kabbalah, actually, the word Kabbalah, it came from the word lekabel, to receive.
Right.
Now, we came to this world to learn how to receive. And how we can receive? We are vessels. We're all in front of the Creator vessel. And each of us have different capacity of the vessel. But in front of the Creator, we are all the same. Let's say, so again, come back to the Kabbalah. So the Kabbalah, it's really energy to receive and to understand how the world of the Creator works inside of you, and as well, what is the cause and effect? What is the receive to give? What is the to be receiver and what is to be giver? Because you see, many times there's a big difference between giving and sharing. You understand the difference?
Yes.
Now, for example, Kabbalah teaching many times we love to give. But to give many times is to destroy somebody. But to share, you only giving amount of person then he can appreciate, and at the same time there's a space left for this person to work to do as well. Same thing with our children. I will give you a good example with our children. Many times our children can hate us because we give them too much. Really, parenting, by the way, I do amazing parenting courses as well. We can do eventually in parenting reading. I have a whole system. I have the whole system for people who really want to understand their own children, but first they need to understand themselves. In order to understand your child, first step, you need to understand your own child within you. to come back to the initial source, how you were as a child, what's happened to you, how you used to react to things in order to understand your own child as well. But it's really, really tremendous knowledge. But to come back to Kabbalah, we even have, I study Kabbalah for closer to 24 years now. And we used to have Kabbalah Center, they think they have over 17 million students all over the world, 17 million. And there's even priests come to study Kabbalah. Why? Because no matter what religious you practice, Kabbalistic knowledge is the foundation of spirituality. Like you said so truly, it has nothing to do with Judaism. It's just what's happened initially when we received the Torah, the Old Testimony. It was 600,000 souls at the time present. Between them wasn't just Jewish people. The tribe of Judah came before, the Israelites. We have a lot of people who came with us from Egypt. We have a lot of people, whole world at the time was receiving the knowledge of the Torah. Because Torah, it's not just any book. It's life identity. There is a DNA our soul connect to the work of that, but it has nothing to do with religiosity. Nothing. It's everything was corrupted through the generation, but was reason as well, because now that we came to the age of Aquarius, when the windows, opportunities open like never. Don't forget, our souls went through so many journeys. We've been everything, and as soon you understand that, as soon you at least to connect to the law of incarnation, which is another course we can do, the law of incarnations as well. To understand at least basics, how we live this world. By the way, it's really important to understand that. Then you can appreciate life. We need to understand what our soul's going through, how we're coming back again and again and again, for a variety of reasons. Why women coming back to support her other half, why men have to come back, why many times we come back in absolutely indifferent men and woman, man. You see, as soon humanity understand this concept, and this, they really connect to it, there will be no judgment. How can you judge somebody? Tell me. You cannot judge anyone. You never know who you were before. And this is why right now, like never, this knowledge open to masses in order for us to connect to our essence. When you have the knowledge and it's become wisdom, then it's really the whole purpose. Because many times we can study a lot of amazing things, but kids can stay just as a knowledge, can stay just another thing for the beautiful conversation. If you do not apply to your daily life, to the small things you do, it's never can become wisdom. Never.
Right.
And this is the whole purpose. I probably jumping from place to place.
That's huge though. It's a very practical thing, Kabbalah. It's not just theory. You really have to do it. Otherwise, you, like you said, you don't step into that wisdom. You don't acquire that knowledge. You don't really. It's very experiential.
Yeah. You really understand the cause and effect. You understand how everything works around you. You understand that animate subjects have a soul. Why? Because they're created by humans. They're created by something. They're created by everything came from the Creator. And each of us, we're coming back here every time. Our soul, when we're in upper world, before we end up again in our body, we see everything. We see cause and effect. We see the truth. There's no illusion. We're back to come back here. And I remember I even told you there's a joke between Kabbalists. There's a huge line in the upper world for handicap to come back here.
Yes,
because then you really need to. Yes. But again, to come back
we forget so much on this side of the veil. We forget so much. We forget almost everything, right? And all of a sudden life is a burden and it's a hassle and it takes so much out of us to live, but that's what it's supposed to do in a way.
Yes,
absolutely. And so Kabbalah can help you really recognize and realize, what did I come in for? Why am I here? What am I supposed to do? And what's my pathway forward? How can I best live this life?
And absolutely. And no matter what job you do in this lifetime, no matter what, if you're man, woman, your husband, wife, what work you do, and if you're managing, especially if you're managing the people as well. This is such a tremendous tools, and they're really simple. It sounds maybe complicated in the beginning, like any other knowledge you start to study, but as more you study, is more you think, you more you lean to simplicity.
Yeah.
because you understand light is
But
simple.
you don't choose simplistic things, Esther. You study Kabbalah, then you study Babylonian astrology, and then you tied it all together, and you've created your Kabbalistic astrology, which I find is phenomenal. And
Yes.
so, what's that all about? What is Babylonian astrology, and how does that differ from Western and Vedic again?
Yes. So very close with calculation with Vedic astrology, because Vedic is using the same system is Sidereal Astrology. Now,
Mm-hmm.
what is really different, like I mentioned initially, the Western astrology, it's mainly deals only with seasons, right?
Right.
And what it does is, for example, if you're born from 19th of February and until March 21st, so you know you enter inside of the Pisces. But it's far away from truth. Why? Because every 72 years, we actually we move 1 degree every 72 years from from the tropical Western astrology. And
Mm-hmm.
change is lifetime, it's minor change, but eventually it's accumulate. You can imagine the cycle already went through 25,772 years. So we already lost 24 degrees. So what it's mean? Let's say you think you are Pisces, but you are not really Pisces, you're Aquarius.
Yeah.
20, you understand? So what's happening? Many people, by the way, this absolutely fascinating about that, because if you, for example, you think you Aries, especially you in the beginning of Aries, and many times you think, how come you meet some Aries, they can be very emotional, because they actually completely Pisces. You might have Aries, you maybe have Aries in Moon or in Mercury. And a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people, I remember initially when they had a struggle, because when you used to walk certain way and suddenly somebody told me, no, 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 it's better to walk with open shoulder and
Mm-hmm.
chin up, and your breathing system it will take you time to adapt. So when you really understand how, plus what's really, really amazing, the Babylonian astrology it's called multi-dimension astrology.
Mm-hmm.
And multi-dimensional astrology, it's deal with few things. It's deal with your sign, then it's deal with image of zodiac sign, and how the image built. It's built by different stars. So it's mean on top of your rising, you get in additional royal stars, or you get in from your horizon. By the way, horizon, it's extremely important, because the horizon, especially the one which is coming from the east side, it can touch stars like Sirius, it's huge star.
Mm-hmm.
It's global star, and it can touch different stars, which is aiding to your character and to your blessings. And remember, we need to embody with these royal stars. We need to communicate with them, because as soon they know that we know, they have no choice to support us. They anyway, behind we have so much going on behind the scene then we don't know, and there's reason why it's not open to us. But as more you study, is more you connect to your essence, and more you understand who you are, what you brought from the past, how many blessings, how much knowledge, is soon you're going to start to activate that. You're going to see, it says, when you're coming outside, the grass is greener.
Yeah.
Because when you have more awareness about yourself, when you have more awareness about your soul, you're unstoppable. Why? Because then you suddenly realize, first of all, who can tell me who I am if this person doesn't know who he is? So first, the work start, you're not letting anyone to put you down or
Mm-hmm.
to underestimate you. Of course, we needs to be surrounded by people, because the real spiritual work, it's not to be in a desert and meditate. The real
Mm-hmm.
spiritual work is with technology now. It's for children, our pets, our complication. This is spiritual work. People don't understand. There's no such a thing to accelerate yourself somewhere. Anyone can be. It's like you're going to the gym, you're working to grow your muscle. How for you to know then muscle actually grow and become strong? You need to start to practice. You need to do the same thing with spirituality. Consistency is the key. But first, you need to understand. I always joke. Then, when people start reading with me, sometimes I can see they keep using this broken bike, driving slowly. They struggle. I'm telling you, 1 second. You actually have plane sitting in your driveway. You have to start to fly. Let's get the license. Let's get the understanding. Let's come back to something. It's sitting inside of you waiting. And sometimes I do, when I can see very strong charts. Everyone has a really, really amazing chart. I ask permission and I tell them, how much can I tell you? How much you, and I always ask in the beginning of the reading, what is the reason? What is the desire? So because I do want to understand what is the capacity, what's the person ready for? And usually I give a little bit more. Why? Because I'm not here listen just to you, who you are limited now. I can see how unlimited you are, and I need to push you more, because this is what your soul asking me, your higher self. Sometimes I work on a chart. I don't like to talk boogie moogie. I'm very practical science.
Yep, I know that.
Yeah, because Kabbalah, it's science as well. It's real spirituality. It's not just what you guess. Because Western astrology, for me, it's more philosophical astrology. I have nothing against Western astrology. It's a beautiful thing. And whoever people are doing Western astrology, I'm really happy, because we always a certain time in our life connecting to something next and next. I do believe Babylonian astrology is the next level, but what I did, I create completely new system. At least I don't know that anyone in the world do what I do. So
how do you combine it all? Because you're combining Kabbalah, astrology, Babylonian astrology. How do you combine it all? How does a reading with you, what does it look like?
Absolutely. So let's just clarify a couple of things. So number one, Babylonian astrology represent actual fixed science. So we study sky. It says so be above, so below. So the calculation is different. Calculation actually exactly according, because Babylonian astrology, it's astronomy as well. So it's exactly what's happening in the sky. It's not just from, like you guys, you will have Christmas every December 24. It's not such a thing, because moon have different phases. It's represent different energetical force, and it's a phase different. So like I said, I don't want to repeat myself, but because through the 25,000 to 775 years, we already lost about 24 degrees. So therefore, many of us, and again, Babylonian astrology have a little bit different interpretation of each sign. So I'll give you example. Pisces. Let's come back to Pisces.
Yes. Do you have a chart that you can share?
Well,
and maybe
I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you something. Yes.
Not mine though.
No. I know. First of all, I would never do that without your permission. So let's see what I can do now. Okay, my love. Okay, so what do we have here? This is actually a chart of John Kennedy.
Okay.
Yeah. So I love his chart, because he's one of the leaders who, even his Jupiter, you can see he cares so much for people. He has a couple things. For example, his Venus in very interesting place, which is I will show you right now. Do you see what I do over here?
Yes, I see your
beautiful. Yeah, beautiful. So you see his Venus, for example, it's touching the holes of the ball, right? You see the ball?
Right.
Bull? Okay, so it's very sexual. It's almost an age, he looks at woman, he already wants woman. So you see, he already born with that, right?
Right.
Now, and this is in a way, so it's not just enough to know that his Venus in 9th house, right? And he's in Taurus. On top of because Taurus, it's represent a big body. Let me just go to more dark screen, so perhaps you can see better. Let me see over here. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, beautiful. So I just want to give a couple examples. So this is the Pisces. So I'm going to tell you about the Pisces a little bit. So Pisces, they have two fishes, right? So one Pisces more closer to Aries, and one Pisces closer to Aquarius. So guess what? The one Pisces which is close on Aquarius, this Pisces face look like a bird.
Oh wow!
It literally look like a bird. So what it's mean? Pisces who born in the beginning and end of Aquarius and beginning of Pisces, this is people who have illusion about who they are. They love to talk like a bird. They like to say things about themselves. Then they have the best voice. They're very beautiful. Nothing wrong about in a sense, but many times they make things up. And Pisces, until this point to the court, when they connected, you remember the court? There's a court where they connected.
Yeah.
Very spiritual combination, a very special noble star, by the way. This type of Pisces, they live in a world of illusion. They as a little children, they love to make stories, not because they're liars, because they live in their own imagination world. And when they grow in, many times they have a hard time to connect to reality. Therefore, it's really important when you do chart a person who you can see that they have this type of combination, instead to put them down, to show them, then this is only small things they need to recognize, to know, in order to open doors to a lot of blessings waiting for them, okay? So, for example, in other Pisces, the Pisces which is close to Aries, these Pisces actually represent, there's a big star beside the Pisces. It's a star of Antella. So Antella is the star, is the female, and she's the general of the war. So these people, they're more fighters. So, some, you will think, it's Pisces, but it's different type of Pisces. Is the Pisces who really smart, very dedicated. They will fight for their rights. They can overcome such a heavy experience in the life. Then the other birdie Pisces will go down in depression. You see, in the Pisces you have two different absolutely different type of Pisces. It's not enough to know the degree. It's really important what actually they connect to. I'm going to show you something over here. Let's connect back to the previous view. So I'm going to show you the horizon. Do you see the horizons?
Yes.
This horizon is extremely important, especially from the east. And I will tell you why. Because if, for example, your horizon can touch any noble star, your soul, because you see this is the rising, he's rising over here in the first house, right? And it's in Virgo. By the way, rising in Virgo, it's you can imagine his organization skills, his dedication.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. But guess what? Yeah, absolutely. He was really great man, I have to tell you. Look at his moon in Leo. Look at that.
Yep.
And it's
11th
actually
house.
but his moon little bit touching the penis of the Leo. So he was real. I'm telling you, when I look at his chart, it's unbelievable. But guess what else? He's look what he has. It's unbelievable. You see his Neptune? His Neptune connect in the heart of Cancer. Do you know what is the heart of Cancer? The heart of Cancer, it's Atlas. Atlas is the heart of Cancer. It's people have psychic ability. It's the people who are they in the stomach, the guts. They say gut feeling. So the expression of the gut feeling came from here, in the middle of the Cancerian.
Wow.
Now I want to show you something another. Now Gemini, for example, you see the Pollux and Castor. It's huge, two noble star, and look, he's mid-heaven, MC, and his horizon going over here. Horizon is going over here, and it's going in the middle of the brain of Gemini. It's so big. He basically has a brain of someone who's not just think nonstop. It's like it's of two people, but it's actually not bad for a person who's head of country, because he can be in two places at the same time. Because two, it says, then Jesus connect to the castor. He actually came from the castor, right? So why it's really important to remember that people, it's noble royal star. Person who has this type of connection, mid-heaven, it's your purpose of life, which is connect to the society. Because Gemini, one of the most fascinating signs, it's inside, you're not just two people, you constantly battle between good and bad, constantly. But usually only big souls, like really people who went through a lot, can get this type of combination, because to handle this energy, it's not just belongs to you, it belongs to humanity. It's actually, you have a lot of people behind you, depend on you. You understand how fascinating it is? So this is
Yes.
why the Babylonian astrology is multidimensional. It's not just enough to know your moon rising and sign, which is
Yeah.
important. It's so much behind. There's a story behind. Your soul came from so many different dimensions, and there's a reason why your soul came to specific family. I'm going to exit from here. I'm going to come back to you.
Okay.
Stop sharing. So I want really to bring the point, really, really important point over here. We need to really to understand who we are. We need to understand that we have very limited perspective. We're much bigger. Our souls came from many, many places. We never
Yeah.
would allow to come back to a place like Earth, which is not easy. Some people, some tribes even called it like a jail of universe, jail of universe. But at the
Universe. Yeah.
same time, but at the same time, contradiction. You see, spirituality, Kabbalah, it's represent contradiction. Without contradiction, you cannot understand real knowledge. Because what is really pain? Without really struggle, you cannot really connect to the highest of yourself. But eventually, it's not called struggle, because when you really connect to your bigger picture, whatever you're going through, you don't see as a struggle. You see as a beautiful journey. Without that, you cannot to get to the point where you need to get. But when you have a spiritual tools, instead to struggle with the spiritual tools, you learn how to restrict. Before you speak, you understand what words should come out, how much
Yeah.
is going to serve. Is this conversation going to serve right now, or it's actually going to destroy it? And
Yeah.
it's the process, it's the process. For some of us, some things come in very easily. Like if you're born Libra and you know how to communicate, and you're Libra and really in the middle. But if you're born Scorpio, which is one of my favorite signs, by the way, I don't have Scorpio, but I really one of my favorite, because you really need to understand the depthness and how each sign has so much beauty. So, but again, to come back to my point, really to appreciate who you are, you need to understand first where you came from. You need to understand why your soul choose this particular family, this particular childhood, the moment of the birth. Why this particular sign? Because this is exactly ingredient was missing to complete your beautiful soul for this process. And every time, whatever we're going through, it's not just about us. Through us, the higher source of creation getting this experience. Many
Yeah.
times, when you're a high soul and when you have not easy life, not because you did something in the past, which is another trap. People can live all their life in the blame. They heard
Yes.
something
Yeah.
incarnation, and they, no, 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 no. It's not about that. It's about how big your soul and how much you can handle. And many times we take upon ourselves much more because we agree, and we have an army of souls behind us who's waiting for our spiritual growth, which is a beautiful thing. It's responsibility. But at the
Yeah.
same time, we need to be reminder. Again, like I told you, even during our reading, nothing I told you was new for you. I just to refresh your memory, to remind you who you are as an initial step. And as more you will grow, we can do follow-up reading and we can touch more things. It's like a baby, you can feed baby with steak. You feed baby first with mother milk or formula, whatever it's happened. And slowly, slowly you introduce. This is our soul. We need to be really merciful to ourselves. In order for us to love other person, you need to love yourself. Number one, it's not selfish. It's goal to be selfish in that sense, because only then you can produce love. I
Yeah.
always tell mothers, I said, in order for you to give to your child, you need to learn how to give yourself. Because
Yeah.
who needs mother who completely burnt out, who really run on the last? No, this is not how it's supposed to be. And believe me, your child maybe can get less perfect food and less clean clothes, but the happy mother. I'm telling you,
About
it's
the
all about.
balance.
I'm telling
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
Because you even told me stuff like Like the one thing I hadn't told you, and I don't think you watched the video. I did a Rudolf Steiner video, and I mentioned it in there only briefly, though. But a couple of years ago, I
I
had
only
this.
watched your video once when
Yeah,
you're doing tarot reading. I never watch your
I
videos.
don't think you. Yeah, I don't think you watch it. But I had this experience a long time ago when I first moved back to Canada. I moved to Vancouver. This must have been in 2005, about that. And I was meditating, working out, and then going into work at like 7:30 a.m. And in one of those morning meditations at around 5 a.m., I had this vision, and this vision has sustained me till this day. And it's not something I share lightly, but I did it in that Rudolf Steiner video because I felt it was appropriate, and I got the okay from spirit. But I was singing in a choir of angels. They were my brothers and sisters, and we were standing around, I don't know how to explain it, the Godhead, right? And the only thing that mattered was singing to God, and out of the vibrations of our tones, things were created, life, galaxies, universes, you name it. It just flowed out of the song. And it was such a profound vision. I felt it was like a taste of home to sustain me through everything that was going to come. And it still does. You didn't know this. And the first thing, you look at my chart and you're like, you need to sing. Your voice, you need to sing, you need to sing, you need to sing. And another thing you said was you connected. I'm not going to go into everything you said, but basically you nailed that vision without knowing. You said angelic realms, you said this and this and that, and you need to sing. And I was like, oh my God. And also another surprise was that in my chart, usually I have a moon in Virgo in Vedic and in Western astrology. And in Babylonian, though, it's a moon in Leo, right? And you're like, no,
But in
this
the
is
house,
well,
but
not,
in
no,
the
but
house of Virgo, interesting.
Virgo. Yeah, it's
In the house of
interesting.
Virgo. Yeah.
Yeah. And everything you said that applied to that, it applied. And at first, when you were talking about my mother, I was like, no, because I never saw it from that side. But then after I thought about it, I didn't tell you that yet, but I'm telling you now, after I thought about it, I was like, it's true, actually. True. I just never saw that side of the coin because I was always used to this picture in this frame, and that's the way it was. And you're like, yeah, but if you turn the picture over, look at this. And I was like, oh my God,
Yes.
I never saw it like that. I never saw it like that, but it is absolutely true. Yes. And coming
Yes,
from a
absolutely.
soul perspective, it all makes so much sense now. It makes so much sense. Yeah.
Sure. Yes, absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
I'm like, I was like, I have to put you on my channel because we've known each other for years, like you said.
Yes.
And we met way back when, and you were doing astrology and Kabbalah, but now you've tied it all together so
Yes.
neatly that it is absolutely mind blowing. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
And I'm not just saying that.
Thank you. No, I know. And I have so much appreciation and really, really, I'm really humble about what you said, everything. And, we always have to, yes, because, everything it's present, it's gift to us. We need to, at the same time, remember everything we have. I'm not here to scare anyone, but we really need to understand the universe, how we work. At the same time, what we have, we can lose any moment.
Yeah.
But it's not why I mentioned that to scare people, just to mention that in order to appreciation. Because every time when you have appreciation for everything you have, your health, who you are, this is when the process starts, when the blessing only can land and appear again only from the place of appreciation. And I have to mention I always study work of righteous people. It's one of my hobbies, let's put it this way. Every time when I travel, no matter where I am in the world, I always visit graves of righteous people. I always go there. I always thank them. Before I go, I study about the journey. I usually study the books. I remember I was going to one day, I went to a private trip with one of my teachers who was not anymore in this world, in this realm. He's here, but not in this realm, Rav Berg. He's one of the greatest Kabbalists of our time. And we went to visit one of the really, really righteous people. His name Kotsky Rebbe. So one rabbi and what is really righteous soul? Righteous soul, just very quickly for people to understand, is the really soul who really understand here in our realm, even how the heart material work. The hard material built from movement of molecules. So there's really not really hard material. Really high souls, they could put their hand inside of the wall and put through because they're not limited. They understand they're not limited about the desire to receive for the self alone. They much bigger. Is for example, the righteous person or Kabbalist, you always says the spiritual person, if he wants to be rich, it's good thing. It's money. It's not the issue people have who get into spirituality. They have funny connection with the money. No, the spiritual person should have big desire, but with the same amount of the big desire for the money, the same amount you need to have inside of you to reject it.
Yes.
So the same amount you want to have, the same absolutely amount you should be okay not to have. You understand? Mm-hmm. This is the contradiction of spirituality. So come back to my initial point, the contradiction, and to understand yourself, you really always need to expand your horizon. You really always to understand. Then, we came from really high place. We have a spark of creator inside of us on the physical level, in the heart. So, for example, in Hebrew, heart, it's lev. It's built from two letters called lamed and bet. Eventually, maybe we can. And numerology of that, it's 32. Now, the Old Testament start from the letter bet and the last letter lamed, which is heart.
Yeah.
And what is the secret? It says then inside of on the DNA in the physical level, Kabbalists explain you have a creator inside of you here, sitting inside of you. So instead to look at the sky and to ask somebody, you really need to start to communicate with yourself. You need to close the eyes and say, Esther, first of all, I love you. I appreciate everything. I appreciate this body as the holy temple, carry my soul. This is why we have responsibility, what we eat, how we're taking care of our body, not on the level that we take care of our body more than soul. It needs to be in a balanced way, right? And we need to communicate with ourselves and start to have this conversation. Because when you're going to start to have conversation with your soul, they're waiting for it. Your higher self waiting for it.
Waiting for it, yeah.
You're going to get messages. You will be surprised. Especially nowadays, our soul's going through operation. For the last 6 months, what we went through, the humanity didn't know such operations since the humanity was creation.
Yes.
And to get to the point, which is you start in the beginning conversation about some prognosis, we need to understand this December, we're going to have one of the strongest eclipses the humanity never had. It's going to be December 14th. I'm going to post after on your page.
Okay.
What's going to happen? I really wanted to prepare everyone, even a few weeks before. Even now, we need to be very cautious. I don't like to use word careful, but very cautious. Anything comes from our mouth. Our intention. You know how they say, if you want a peace, why are you preparing for war? You understand?
Yes.
Many of us, we lying to ourselves. We have to stop. There's no place for that anymore. You'll remember my words. Next year, summer, it's going to be a different world.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be different. We're already in a half, but we're between doors. It's like you're going through toxic. Your body withdraw toxics, and you're not there yet healthy, but you don't want to be where you came from. This is where we are right now. So cheating, it's not going to help. It's going to make your body shake even more. So we really need to understand this is the time of the truth, but not the truth with social media, because anything we give our energy to it, we're feeding. You put water in a flower, it's grow. Same thing with information. We need to be very cautious what we choose to listen to, if it's even worth it. I'm not saying to be in denial, but we have to be nourished, a lot of nourished to our soul, to our brain, because energy never lost. Everything energy, it stay inside, and then it's need to find a place. Yeah. So, and Kabbalists used to say the one of the biggest war we came to fight, it's called war of Gog and Magog. What is the Gog and Magog? war of thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing more we came to overcome. It's not just to control our thoughts, it's really to be in control and to manipulate our own mind. Our mind is not who we are. Our
No.
mind not even belongs really to our soul. But it's important ingredient. It's like the creator create the other side in order to challenge us so we can reveal more light. So, you look at the sky, there's no light there, it's darkness. So
Mm-hmm.
people constantly, yes, end of the tunnel, it's only light. But in order to see the light of the stars, it's need to be the darkness. So darkness, we need to appreciate, we need to understand. Without that, we cannot really connect to the higher self ourselves. You understand? So when you study Kabbalah, when you start to understand the law of creation, what is the cause and effect, where you came from, these are so many steps, but it's good to start.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's the tools for your soul, right? So again, to come back to the prognosis, one thing I want us to live with and to really understand, we have very little time left until December, when we all come to the place, to the door to this December of this eclipse. We have to understand there will be no one after to blame.
Yeah.
It's not like, sometimes you fall, you call mommy, or you need to borrow money. There will be no such a thing.
Nothing. Yeah.
Nothing. We need to understand there's no time anymore to cheat.
Yes.
The only person you're cheating in only yourself. Your intention, it's everything. It's not even what you say, it's what your intention are. Because your
Exactly.
intention this is really what create a real, you cannot longer can be like that. You can be one way with waiter in the restaurant. You can be one way with someone who have agenda. You can be another way someone who have sex. That's it. The game done. You actually same with everyone.
Yeah.
Who you are. And this is the way we're entering. There will be no filters. And it's a beautiful thing. Why? Because this is how they're preparing us to see everything. Because when the final redemption comes, no one come on the donkey to bring us. No, no, no. It's not what Kabbalists explain. It's the collective consciousness. When we all rise above our nature, the negative nature, when we all rise above our desire to receive for the self alone, this is when we stepped in to the different dimension. Then our soul can see much bigger picture. Because then I'm going to look to Caroline. I'm not just going to see who you are now. It's limited. I'm going to understand the passion where you came from, what your journey your soul went through, how much struggle, how you came to the place to be loved, how you came. Understand? This is how the righteous people, Kabbalists, used to look at us. They see everything. So when you beside righteous person, suddenly you feel so much goodness awaken inside of you. You didn't even know. You want to behave differently. Because remember, I told you, we teach people how to treat us. Same thing here. So this is how we need to be very selective who we interact with. We have to be very selective what we let information inside of us. We need to really start to create this nourishment environment. And we have to remember everything already decided above. The only thing we need to be like a good movie directors. We stop to be actor. What is the actor? It's constantly involved. There's no time for light of creator to come in. When you leave, you do your good, then you zoom out and you observe. You observe, you don't touch. Let light of creator to come in and show you. But what we do, we're constantly too smart. We don't even know how to listen to other person. While other person, even when we think we part of the conversation, while person speak, we already think what we're going to say next.
So what we're going to say next. Yeah.
So it's mean you're not present. You're not really. This is another way how to be sharing. Forget to be giving. You're like a moon in Leo, and I have enough Leo inside of me. It's constantly giving, giving. No, you need to really, for you to give, it's not to give. You understand? For another person opposite, he needs to learn how to give. For another person, he came to this world to learn how to restrict, not to give every time. I'm not talking about to calculate. It comes after naturally. When you understand how the law of creation works, when you understand how you work, who you are, then everything becomes much more clear. You understand?
Yeah. And you're so right about intentions, because we lie to ourselves all the time about what our true intentions are for anything. And it's amazing because, again, you're touching on stuff that I'm experiencing as you're saying it. Basically, last week we went on a bus ride to Merida. It was a 4-hour bus trip. And as I'm looking out the window, I see a rainbow and a sunset, and it's above a concrete wall with barbed wire on top of it. And it was such a stark contrast between the natural world and this rainbow and the man-made world and the concrete wall and the barbed wire on top. I took a picture and I posted it. And the words that came in were about forgiveness, and that you can't force forgiveness. It's not an intellectual decision. Oh, I'm going to forgive this person or whatever. It's something that your soul naturally grows into. But some people still, and we've all done it, I'm sure, when your soul is ready to forgive, they're still holding on to that old grudge because mentally they want to be right, so
because it's known. Anything unknown, it's scare.
Yes, that too.
Yes,
that too.
I will give you example in astrology. Cancerian. What is the moon? Doesn't have the light on his own. Moon is the reflection of the light. So this of the sun. So this is why many times Cancerian, they have a lot of insecurity, constantly think about, would I have enough money to support my family? Would I have money? Not why? And they always connect to history. They love history. They love antique stuff. Why? Because it's already happened. It's already known. And they're afraid about what's going to happen next. What you understand?
Yes.
So we all have Cancerian. By the way, we all have all signs inside of us.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you, but
no,
100%.
Yeah.
And by the way, about restriction, in the end, like I said before, what is really restriction? Restriction, it's initial restriction, but then when you grow in spiritual, some things used to be hard for you. It's not restriction anymore. Like for you naturally to give, for example, right? So for another person naturally not to give, to stay in a corner, try to not to communicate when he feel uncomfortable. But when you become free, liberty of the soul, certain restriction you don't even need to apply, because whatever things used to upset you or trigger your reactive system, when you connect to the bigger picture, you don't even connect to this anymore. You don't need to restrict, because first of all, you have more mercy for other person. You look at the other person. Some people just not there yet. Like I said to you once, King David, one of my favorite psalms of King David, which is I love to study psalms of David, he compared human soul to the apple on a tree. So he said, when you come, he was talking to, King David and King Ezekiel, both of them at the time, and King Solomon, all of the people used to be his student, not just servant and student. Can you imagine the level?
Mm-hmm.
All of them used to be students. So King David used to tell to his student, when you come to the apple tree and you look at the apple and it's not ripe yet, you don't take the unripe apple through on the floor and say, it's not good apple. No, he said, no, let it stay. It still need time to ripe and to back to his full. Same thing with us. What do you think righteous people look at us? They know. They love how we're treating us, because they see everything. They see how big we are, how we're occupied with nonsense, instead to So this is why when I do reading, I really try to bring the bigger picture. I really try to bring this person to the beauty of the soul, to show him, it's like a jewelry box sitting in your closet. And you live on a penny. I'm telling you, no. Let's go to the jewelry box. Let's open. Let's start taking slowly one by. Let's not spend everything right away. Let's slowly, And this is the whole idea.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I love it. Somebody asked, and I'll just go over to the questions, but somebody asked, the Path of Cinnamon said, for people who have been accustomed to Western astrology in their natal interpretation, can you describe the transition to Babylonian? Can people usually identify or resonate with both?
100%. And I'll tell you why, because we need to understand what is the Western astrology. Western astrology is more philosophical approach. Plus Western astrology, even though they're telling you, let's say your Pisces, the way how they explain Pisces is a little bit different than Babylonian astrology, ancient astrology, because ancient astrology explained to you behind the scene what is really Pisces, what other stars attach, what is the rising, and how the horizon go into. So it's much deeper information. So I would say I love to work with people who have an understanding and knowledge of Western astrology, because they understand already knowledge of the science. What is the rising moon? What is the your own sign, how they are located in different, and many times, by the way, look at your example. Your moon, you used to have your moon in Virgo, but
Mm-hmm.
your moon in Leo, but in the house of Virgo. You understand?
Yeah.
So many times, I have so many examples. I used to have, I had reading with somebody, and I see this lady has a location in a Pisces, which is birth Pisces, and she's very polite. She explained to me. And then we get to speak about her ex-husband. The words she started to use,
Mm-hmm.
so nasty, I can't even explain. And it's right away nature, when we in the reactive way, nature coming out right away, So it's absolutely, and again, we need to understand, it's not Esther made something, or the sky, what really amazing about Babylonian astrology or ancient astrology, it's the study of the sky. You're not just looking in numbers and graphics and degrees. You actually look into constellation. By the way, the same person who born on March 5th, for
Yeah.
example, in Canada, another person born in Russia, they're not going to get the same constellation, the same stars, because the horizon going to be in different place. So
Yeah.
without and I have the system, I showed you before the image, it's Placidum. I have to mention the name who created the system. His name, Roman Nikolov. He's one of the masters of the world in Babylonian astrology, which is, he's one of my teachers. And, when I studied with him, he's the one who created this Placidum system, which is unbelievable. It has the whole knowledge of the sky with horizon and all the small details, which is you cannot find anywhere. And
Anywhere.
this is how I was able to see deeper. But what
Yeah.
I do, I take on the next level. I combine my Kabbalistic knowledge. I understand the traits of character. Plus, people who have any knowledge or Hebrew alphabet, I can add much more to it, because then I can explain how certain Hebrew alphabet letters connect to this particular sign, and with vibration, what meditation they can do
That's
in
exactly.
order. Yes, what's happened? It says in our books, we must embody with our sign.
Mm-hmm.
So if, for example, I'll give you my example. I always thought my rising in Cancer, and when I study my rising actually in Gemini, and is location in the brain of Gemini. So this is why I remember when my teacher was doing, he said, "My God, the Margaret Thatcher probably can be your sister at least," because it's like, and it makes so much sense to me, because but then my moon in Cancer, I never thought. My moon in Leo all my life, and my moon in Cancer in the stomach of Cancer, where the psychic ability coming from.
Mm-hmm.
When I start to study all of that and connect, I was unbelievable. I realized it makes so many sense. So you see, so when we do the reading, I'm not here to completely, which is not bad thing. Sometimes you live all your life and you've been told to eat this food, but it's not about diet. You simply can remove only few items from your diet and add something else, and your body gonna react completely differently. Just
Yeah.
too small. So same thing here in a way. When you get into, and again, for us to get to truth, it's journey.
Mm-hmm.
The cosmos preparing us. Not everyone ready. And if anyone who listened to you was gonna listen to this video, they didn't came by coincidence. Their souls
No.
was ready.
Yeah.
And each one who's going to listen to that, they're going to have different understandings. They're going to have different impressions. Many people are going to have different level of questions, because in the questions is the answer.
Mm-hmm.
So whoever is going to listen to this video or audio, they're going to go through completely different process, because it's not about one truth. It's about the way how we see things, what we're ready to hear. And each day it's new level, and new level.
Yeah. Awesome. What kind of readings do you offer, Esther? What?
So I always recommend to start with the basic reading.
Mm-hmm.
It's must, because if you never did a Babylonian ancient astrology sidereal system, it's really must. It's because it's like to go to university without adapting the alphabet. So it's really important. And sometimes my reading can take up to 2 hours. Sometimes I have to prepare. And what else I do? I do additional thing, which is I don't even charge for it. I share my personal notes, and I send to, so you're going to have much more, not just the image of your chart. You're going to have even my notes. So you can always come back when you listen, and as well you can see the notes. Because my goal, not to hide information, my goal, even after initial reading, I'm going to have a student slash teacher. It's the goal, because I really want people to understand we're all healers. We're not here to be dependent on anyone.
Yeah.
Eventually, we want people to awaken the healer and teacher inside, because we're all here to learn from each other. And if I have a merit to awaken the knowledge you already have, it's not even it's just my merit to be part of this process. It's not me. It's good. If not me, somebody else will do it. We need to understand. Nobody, we're special and not special. You understand?
I think we're all special.
Yes, we're special. Remember I told you this righteous person was walking with two notes in his pocket. One note used to say, we came from sperm, we become nothing, we're dust in the earth. And the other note says, we are part of the creator, we image of creator, we're everything. This is how we need to live.
Okay. J-Lo is asking, is there a book you can recommend so that people can learn more?
Yes, absolutely. It's a really amazing question. So what we can do, we're gonna put links. I'm gonna put few links. I can recommend one book for water sign, people who understand more knowledge from poem teller, more deep, and I can put for people who more Gemini, more quick mind. So it's going to be two type of. I always believe when you get into spirituality, especially Kabbalah, there's a two type of actually book they recommend. I really recommend for them to start with, at least to have the basic understanding. Absolutely. And if, as well in the future, we can even do one of the courses with Hebrew alphabet.
Yes.
We can go.
Yes. I was going to ask you, because we're going to put together some courses, and that's going to be one of them. 1 second. My dog is shredding my shorts.
No problem. And mine just stopped barking.
Stop. Oh my gosh. No. Oh my gosh. He's shredded. He's
a baby. This is what you when you have a baby.
He's shredded. Yeah. You said there was a special name. What do you call dogs again in Hebraic?
Oh yes, a dog in Hebrew, it's kelev. So exact translation, kelev, like a heart. Can you imagine?
Here, say hi. This is the culprit.
Hi, sweetie.
Oh my gosh.
The new family member.
Oh my God. Stop.
So did you hear what I said, right? So kelev, like a heart. Yes. Like a heart. So you see, Hebrew language is really magical. There's a lot of secrets inside. A lot of secrets.
Yeah, that is beautiful. When you told me that, it just clicked. It's
actually very auspicious. Very auspicious to have a dog. And in general, it's good to have animals in home. Very auspicious, because you're taking somebody care of beyond your own needs, and you have to guess like a little baby what he needs, what is it. You can hear my babies. Yeah, they barking too. I have two.
And he hears things. Like we were upstairs, and I was just cleaning the space up there, and I was prepping for a reading, and he started barking up in the corner. And all of a sudden, it's on the patio up there. All of a sudden, there was this whoosh of wind out of nowhere, and the energy shifted like that. It was just gone. Whatever it was, I don't want to know. I don't need to know. He handled it.
They're protecting us as well.
Yeah.
But especially dogs, they came to teach us how to open our heart. There's a lot of secret inside, for sure.
Yeah. Awesome.
100%.
Yay! I'm so excited. So we'll post the list with the books. We'll post the webinars, and we'll be doing another live. Do you mind doing another live with me sometime next week? Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Because I'm sure people want to hear about the eclipse that's coming up in December, and hear more about that. So if we could do something.
I do recommend to do not next week, week after.
Week after.
So
okay.
Then I can put together a little bit more information.
Okay. Perfect.
Because next week I'm a little bit booked, but week after it's going to be much better. What we can do systematic. We can put a few things, absolutely, and we can absolutely. It's my merit, my pleasure. And I told you, you're one of the people. even you laugh. So you know, I'm sure your audience knows you're one of the people who you really care for people.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
do.
when you look at your chart, there's a lot of fake gurus in our, not fake gurus, you know, people sometimes pretend to be more they are.
Mhm.
But when you look at your chart, and I know you, but besides, you're really one of the people who you came from such a high place and you have so much knowledge. But most importantly, I really want to remind you again, you have a heart of the universe. You really came, and this is why it's really important, you know, to be around people like, you know, like mind people, and we all can grow, and the sisterhood and the brotherhood and the people who's listen to us, we all one soul. Just for us right now to be in one conversation, to participate in this conversation right now, I promise you the peace we're bringing to upper world, it's more than the words can describe, you know,
Thank you.
because of the
Yeah,
collective consciousness. It's really important.
beautiful. All righty. Natrina says, please, any last glimpse on December? And I say, just hold on and we'll do a live on that, on the December eclipse.
Yeah,
And
100%, 100%.
just
Actually,
subscribe
we
to
need
the
to
channel,
prepare.
subscribe
Yeah,
to the updates.
yes, 100%. Plus, it's not just December. I'm going to tell you how December going to affect in March. Something huge going to happen in March. Very positive, very positive. But
I
in
feel
order
I feel nervous about the time right now, I'm going to admit, right? So, but every time I look into the future and I ask for images for the future, Esther, it's always positive. It's always
end of the tunnel, it's
positive.
only light. End of the
Absolutely
tunnel,
positive.
it's only light. Only
Yeah.
light. And
Yeah.
for us, the word scary shouldn't even be part of our vocabulary.
No, it's
Why?
not scared. It's
Yeah.
anticipatory. Put it that way.
Anticipation. Yes, 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 100%.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
send love to all. Thank you so much to
Thank
be,
you
I'm
so
really,
much,
really
Esther, for being
grateful.
a part.
Really
And
grateful.
I'm so happy to have you on board. And yay, let's do this. All right. Thank you guys for
Have a good
watching.
night.
Thank you so much. And subscribe to the channel, please. Click the gray bell so you receive the updates. And you'll receive the update when we're going live next, talking about the December energies that are going to be really important for us. Okay.
Yes,
All right.
absolutely.
Thank you guys. Bye.
Bye-bye.